Morning. Oh, it's a bright morning, and I'm down here letting people go, not monopolising the pathway. That's not my country estate. We have a little, rather more humble abode, but oh, hello. I lived in Guildford for 3 years in the mid 1980s, and I studied here again about 10 years later, but didn't live here. But was came down here pretty much every day for my undergraduate degree. And I never came down here. I never ventured down this far down the river. This was terra incognita for me. Why would you go all the way down here? I don't know. Maybe because it's incredibly gorgeous. I don't think you can see because it's too bright out there and too dark here, but I'll show you in a minute. And how's this? That's a slightly better view, slightly better light. So what am I thinking about at the moment? Well, I'm still interested in what we're going to do about politics. I mean, wow. We're in the middle of reading well, not today because obviously it's Friday and Parliament doesn't sit on Fridays, but we've had a day or so of reading the Queen's speech and having debates about the various aspects of that. That's usually a very most of the time it's quite perfunctory because you don't expect the sitting government to have any trouble with it, but they're obviously having trouble with it now because of the level of the majority, which is quite low. And so, for the first time in a long time, it seems to me anyway, there's a real possibility that the Queen's speech just doesn't get passed, or gets passed with significant amendments. And why that's important is because this is the programme of work that the government plans to do, and the programme of legislation that it plans to put through, the things it wants to talk about, and it can't. They've already watered down a huge amount of what was in the Conservative manifesto in order to even get to a Queen's speech. Brexit negotiations started this week. It's a year today since we had the referendum, so a year tomorrow since we found out that result. And so, some people say to me, why are you interested in this stuff? Why are you saying, what are we going to do about politics? Well, and at the same time, God knows how many people died last week in a fire where, all the evidence that I see, anyway, maybe in my filter bubble, but all the evidence I see points to the sorts of things that are wrong with politics, the sorts of things that are wrong with our society, and the one that and politics is the means by which we get to change that. There are people who would tell you that the means to change that are through the market, and that we should trust the market in building supplies and construction to put some of those things straight, and that our only power is as consumers or producers in the marketplace. And I just think that that idea is dying. I never believed it. You know, back in 1983 when I first came to Guildford, I certainly didn't believe it. And it was where I was first really exposed to people who believed quite passionately in that. And I think that idea is dying now, thank God. And we're seeing that we as a community, as a polity, have power, and we can use that, and we will use it, we'll continue to use it, to change things, because things are shit in lots of places, in lots of ways, for lots of people. So yeah, that's my little bit of Mr. Angry from the from the water meadows in Guildford by the Way Navigation. I'm going to go and sit in the library and do some more writing and thinking.